The videos are giving the emotion. I'm working with this part that is afraid of not being perfect, like this perfectionist.
Do you have specific goals also, like a number of subscribers, number of views, revenue? Hi, and welcome to this new episode of my podcast debut, where I interview people like Nina who are thinking about starting a podcast or YouTube channel, and hopefully it inspires you also to do it and gives you also the motivation and the knowledge to start your podcast and YouTube channel. Thank you so much, Nina, for joining us today. I'd love to start with what's your podcast idea?
Thank you for having me, and thank you for doing this. I'm really honored to be here. You really inspire me to keep this idea going, because I love to, share more than just my sessions with my clients. The impact that podcasts have, I feel, is going to give them some knowledge they can take home, and really just having these moments with themselves again after sessions, before sessions, as I'm working in holistic health. I would love to bring people before the journey into the journey already, and let them also dive afterwards when they have sessions into meditations, giving them more of the broader understanding of what it means to holistically heal. And I think it should be a mix between some interviews, and also the mix between having some meditations, sound healings, and really the depth to dive down after a session to integrate more. I feel that's always missing, and I could imagine a podcast to be such a beautiful add-on to my courses and to my trainings and to my one-on-one sessions. So that was the idea.
Beautiful. Yeah. So also for your clients to go deeper or to have different experiences, and also I imagine for people who might not be your clients to also discover your work. That's usually the combination, right? And you talked about doing interviews, also doing meditation, sound healing, also solo episodes, maybe only with you.
Yeah, exactly. It's diving deep into the understanding of what I'm teaching is going into the area of psychology, breath work, women's health, especially. I work a lot with women, and I feel the one-on-ones with myself, like the single podcast, could be really like my sharing my personal knowledge in my life, and really going into some raw and vulnerable parts that I've been discovering, and how I came to this journey. It's a long ride till here. So 17 years I'm in the shift from getting out of the matrix into what is for me the reality, what really matters.
Yeah, and obviously we both live in Ubud in Bali, and we've known each other for many years. So living in this new reality already, obviously very different from the old matrix we come from in the Western world. I'd love to ask you about the podcast also. Do you want to record this on video?
Yes, I think the videos are, kind of like giving the emotion. In my own life, I'm a graphic designer and videographer, and I always feel as much text, as much information you can give, the video, the picture is always that what gives you the emotion. And I feel the video could be that emotion to connect deeper, right? You can just listen, but you can also watch. And somehow I feel to connect with someone that you maybe never met, then it's nice to see their, the mimic and the way they talk. And I think it kind of like adds on to the past. Yeah.
Thank you. I love that. And people may still choose to only listen, like on YouTube, if you have premium like I do. Otherwise, you can find ways to just listen in the background. On Spotify, you have the choice. Maybe some people will look at you for 10 minutes, and then for the rest of the episodes, they might put it in audio. But I think it's nice to give people the choice. And I love what you put to add that element of personalization and connection. I usually also talk about the discovery on YouTube, which is a search engine. And so you want to be video also for that, and also for the clips. If you want to do clips for social media, it's really nice to have that video.
And also if you do if you do any kind of like, meditation, if I go into any specific kind of exercise that is helpful and needed, then I also have to show sometimes, and it's easier to see. Maybe then you can go and listen, and like first time you see it, I keep on going with the video, but then you can also just
Yeah.
relax and lay back and,
Yeah.
keep on listening once you have an idea of what that exercise should look like.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And that's why I generally recommend people to go video. And obviously, the reason why people maybe don't want to do it is that it adds some complexity, which is true. But in our day and age, it's made more simple. For example, you told me you're recording on your iPhone 15 Pro. I don't think you have any
Yeah.
external mic either. And I'm also on my iPhone 15 without any external mic. So it's very easy, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I was so curious on like, how do I start? I have all this equipment of being, a professional videographer. I have it all. And in the end, I was just like stopping myself because I, wanted to have this perfect studio set up. And somehow it just stopped me from doing something. And I think, as you say it right now, it's like just the phone, just easy like that. Wow, like let's just go. It's getting the idea like written down and getting clear on what I really want to offer there. And but I'm not stopping myself anymore to be perfect and to have it all
Amazing.
perfectly set up. Yeah.
Amazing. And so will you prioritize YouTube and still post on Spotify, for example?
I think YouTube is my go-to, but I haven't uploaded anything on Spotify yet. So if it's just uploading what I already record, maybe you have some ideas how that works. Do you just externalize the sound and send that to Spotify, or how's that going?
No, I upload the video on Spotify. Actually, Spotify prefers video too and favors video
Yeah,
content. And when
yeah.
you do that and you have it connected to other podcasting platform, it extracts the audio automatically for other platforms, like let's say Apple Podcast.
Mm. Okay, okay, easy going.
And so
I love the technique.
Mm,
Yeah.
you've started posted on your YouTube channel already?
This one personally, I haven't. I've been going into some exercises. It's not as a podcast itself. It was more like getting a feeling for myself how I'm looking on videos. How am I like sounding? Do I like myself? How do I want to be? Like how do I want to show those videos? And I experimented a little bit with some shorts. Not a podcast, a full podcast, and that was kind of fun to explore a little bit because I love also the graphics and go a little bit more creative, but it takes up a while. So the question is, do people really appreciate like bringing in some fun elements or some beautiful, I don't know, any extras on top just take up your time, and in the end people just want to have the content, I guess. So yeah, I started with some shorts, but the podcast itself I haven't.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Nina. Yeah, it's always a bit confronting to look at ourselves on camera. We often are worst critic, to be honest, and a lot of it is a little bit overthinking. And anyway, that's the process, right? We get better. It's actually a good thing to have first episodes where you're not as comfortable because you can show the transformation later on.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I remember when I did my yoga teacher training 17 years ago. And then the first day she said, "You're a teacher from now, from today. And you go out and you're going to find your people from today and you're going to teach them." And that was very inspiring because I didn't wait until the training was done in 2 years because it was long training, very deep. And I invited all my friends and my family. I had this massive house in Germany, and I studied with them. So that's what I feel I am in the moment at again, like this letting go of perfectionism and my own expectations to do this as best as I can. This is like the right people that are, cheering on you. They are gonna watch it and they're gonna give you feedback. And I think also that's how growth happens, is like with like feeling, authentic and myself and finding my voice and finding like, also that vulnerability to share it maybe just with that smaller group at the beginning and let's see and allowing the growth to naturally happen. So when the
Mm.
2 years after the training happened, like my classes, I had 20 classes per week booked out in 1 week. So I was ready. And I think that's it. It's just not thinking too much. I always just do and learn and grow.
Amazing. Thank you, Nina. So I'm hearing that you're ready, which I love, and you're already here doing a podcast with me right now, right? And using
Yes.
Riverside, using your phone, so you kind of already have that kind of setup. And I'd love to thank everyone who's watching right now for watching simply. And also, if you're feeling into, do I want to start a podcast? Come on the show, come have a discussion. And in the process, you will also be here doing a podcast already. So you will move forward already with your podcast, which is my intention also with this conversation with people like you, Nina. So, yeah, check the description and come on the show if you'd like to talk about your podcast idea, whether you're already in the process or just thinking about it. And back to you, Nina. I'd love to ask you, so when are you going to start?
I'm starting my teacher training in March, so that is in about like 1 week. So I'm kind of in the moment very dedicated as I've been only working with people like one-on-ones. This time I'm also going very much online, like take really all those elements out that I can do in person. So I want to finish that because I'm still in the process of getting all the courses online. And I think after that is going to be around like April would be a perfect timing for me to have that space, to not feel like I need to push through all the things in the same time. So I want to finish my training and then really sitting down, getting clear, as I also want to involve my team. I'm working with the team, and they also need to think of what they want to bring up there. And I think that needs a little bit of a dive into clarity. So April,
Mm,
I could imagine kind of like April would be a good idea to be really clear.
amazing. Yeah, thanks, Nina. Talking about clarity, what are your goals with this podcast and YouTube channel?
Hmm. Yeah, what I said, living in Bali, it's like you have all these constant comings and goings of clients, and then they come and then they say, oh my god, like this was amazing what you're doing here, I'd love to take you home with me. And that was always my inspiration on like, oh, I should create something that keeps them in the journey. And I know how important it is to bring in commitment for being on that journey. One time go shifts, they happen, but you still need to keep on going. And that's what I would like to inspire people, is to keep up even when it gets hard, even if you forget. It's like easygoing podcast that kind of like gets you back into this spark, why you even did that breath work, or why you had this massive shift in this IFS session, or whatever happened there. But we tend to forget as soon as we're back into reality, and it kind of like sucks you in and you're so back into the brain and you forget about the simple things. And I would like to remind them how to keep on breathing through the storms, through the thunders and the rains, and not only, also when they're happy, it's like, oh, I tend to forget that it's actually important to take care of myself. So I want to implement like, really like these reminders and these ideas on how to make it simple in this daily life. Like it's just hectic and stress, and I know we can't do like 1 hour rituals every day. And
Yeah.
it's ridiculous how sometimes just 2 minutes of breathing, for example, can help you already to shift out of, okay, get me out of this and move me into a better version of myself.
That's beautiful. Yeah, thank you, Nina. And
Yeah.
I'd love to ask you also, do you have specific goals also, like a number of subscribers, number of views, revenue
Mm,
generated from this?
I haven't thought about that actually. I think that's the business part that doesn't it's more my feminine that is in the flow. I haven't thought of this. Thank you for bringing this up. Oh, no, can you give me an inspiration how to
Yes.
get into my masculine there or
Yeah, yeah. Well, I will say a word first, which is that I think it's really beautiful to do it from flow and passion project and wanting to help people. And at the same time, life is life and things happen. Um, Money is important. So these kind of things can draw people away from the podcast if they don't feel they have clarity about where they want to go with it. Then it's easier to procrastinate
Mm,
or it's easier to give up when there's more important priorities that come, right?
yeah, yeah.
So I think it's good to do something we love and we're passionate about, and at the same time to be quite intentional and add some of that masculine and business-driven side to it too, for sure, depending also on your situation and where you are. But well, typically one goal for people is more impact and views directly. So in that case, could
Mhm,
be a number of subscribers or a number of views, right? So you could think, okay, I want to have 3,000 subscribers in a year. That could be a goal, for example, or have 20,000 views in my first year. That could be a goal.
mhm, mhm.
Or
Is that
you,
reachable?
or you could be, yeah, totally. Or you could
Mhm, okay.
be, okay, views are good, but what really matters to me is to grow my coaching business right now. So in that case, your goals could be around how many clients you get from the podcast, or revenue generated for the podcast, or number of sales calls that you get from the podcast. And then the approach would be different because you could want to create some episodes that the idea is, okay, I'll try to get 5,000 views on that episode and I'll invite that person that has a big name and can do some promotion. Or you could do an episode that get 200 views, but the 200 people who watch it are potential clients, and 10% of them end up working with you, for example. So these are
Yes.
the kind of goals that you could have based on that. What resonates with you?
Mhm. Um, I think that's really something to tap into it more. It resonates it resonates all of it. As you say, I think having that flow of like finding those clients who would like to, work with us as a team and eventually come to our retreats and come to our trainings. I think that is definitely a bigger picture because one-on-one sessions they just show you a glimpse of what you can do, and that's why I think I want to take them deeper because then they leave and they don't have the opportunity, but there are different opportunities to not only dive for themselves into retreats but also with the trainings to learn such a beautiful tool. And I think it would be great to, it's not about the followers itself, I guess. It's really about creating an impact on how to inspire people to keep on going in the journey and becoming eventually even a therapist. And so I think it's
Mm,
leading towards that big offering with all that amazing that I have. Yeah, I think
amazing.
that sounds great for me.
Mm,
And of course, I need to let that sink what you just shared, and
yeah.
really also need to see maybe to find the balance in between the followers and, like you said, those who are dedicated to actually keep on going.
Mm.
Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you for sharing this. So, if your intention is also a lot around people getting into your work, you could have different episodes where maybe sometimes you have an episode that's an interview with a leader in the field that's going to bring followers, but maybe a lot of episodes will be also, it could be you doing a session, or it could be more solo episodes. And so yes, some episodes are to bring new followers and create cross promotions. So it's kind of
Yeah.
widening, but then you also go deeper with them and they get to know you and they want to work with you, right? So
Mm.
if you were
Yeah,
just after the followers, maybe you just do a lot of interviews with big leaders. But in your case, I feel maybe 30% of the
the
time you
mix.
can do that interview and then do sometimes interview with your clients, for example. That could be really
Mm.
powerful to get
Oh,
people to
nice.
want to work with you, or sessions with your client, even if that aligns and is something that can work with your practice, or solo episodes, yes, when where you dive deeper and you become the authority. Because interviews, they're really good, especially if you have great guests, to expand your reach. But if you like, you give more the authority to the other person, especially if you're more asking questions. I actually recommend, even when you do interviews, to share about your expertise too, and make it more conversation. There's definitely something you can
Yeah,
play with here, but in general
yeah.
you also share a lot of that authority or give it a lot to the guest. So I think it's good in your case to balance it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the thing is, I don't need to even invite like people so much from the outside as I'm working, as I said, with a team. In holistic health, we have so many approaches that goes in all areas of your life, like health, business, in all directions. We have people we work with, and I think these are also very important interviews to have in all those different angles of life, because in the end we're all working together. So even the interviews are leading into our trainings that we do together, our retreats that we do together. So it in the end will still land on the cocoon method. And yeah, I
Yeah,
think
that's
that's really
perfect. Those collaboration with people you already collaborate with is a really fertile ground to deeper collaborations and more business
Mhm.
partnerships also. So that's
Exactly.
really good
Yeah.
and smart. Yeah. I'd love to ask you now, Nina, what do you feel is the biggest challenge ahead of you for that podcast and YouTube channel?
I think it's really working with, I work with IFS, so we're working with parts, and what like the first thing that comes out is like it's really this perfectionist that, when you don't feel good and you're like, I can't do this podcast right. I can't be in front of a camera because I'm just feeling too too stressed, too overwhelmed right now. Or, I think that would be the biggest challenge to stick to the plan. I'm not a plan person. I'm a very spontaneous. Oh, why is it doing this? Like,
Yeah.
okay. I think that would be my challenge. But in the moment, I'm kind of like getting there. I'm structuring things, and I'm working with this part that is afraid of not being perfect, like this
Mm.
perfectionist, this like really stripping it down to the point of understanding it doesn't have to be like that. And again, I'm layer by layer unfolding the fear of just being seen, I guess, underneath of this part of wanting to do it perfect. And yeah. And then what if I don't look like super happy? What if this podcast is all about like, oof, that raw emotion? And I guess that's how I see it, and eventually want to move forward to not stop myself. So let's see
Thank you,
how that
Nina.
unfolds. Yeah.
Very, yeah, it's also very common to have these, let's say, fears when we start the podcast. And I acknowledge you for wanting to be raw and wanting to be authentic. And actually, it's what can make it work really well, because the world really
Mm.
craves and needs more of that authenticity.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, but it's scary, it's scary to show yourself. And uh, you have sometimes comments where you think, oh my God, like, what are these people like commenting there? You share yourself so openly, and they don't have anything else to do rather than commenting badly on your stuff, even if you mean it really um, from your heart. But yeah, like it's also very confronting, I guess, to get feedback, I guess.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
not
it can be.
received, maybe. Yeah, can happen as well. So I think that's another struggle I can feel coming up.
Yeah, thank you for sharing this. And it can totally be a subconscious sabotage for people not to show up or to not want to have a lot of views, for example, because it's just going to happen if you have a lot of views. There's going to be sometime like some trolls, right? People who are like, we had a bad
Trolls.
day and want to unleash that on someone on the internet. And so there is a
Yeah.
time to get used to that and to be like, well, okay, well, it is what it is. It is a
Mhm.
practice.
Definitely a practice. Yeah. Yeah. But I've been never stopping myself, so I've been always going for the things I've wanted, and there's quite a, like an intentional warrior that kind of like, no matter what, I'm gonna do it. And yeah,
That's the most important.
looking forward.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you, Nina.
Really looking forward. Yeah.
We're approaching the end today, but I'd love to ask you, was this valuable?
Yeah, definitely. Kind of like already sitting here with you and feeling how it would feel to do this with my friends, with my team, with my clients, and it already feels like amazing. And I can feel how the nervousness that was there a little bit at the beginning, but it's just not existing anymore because I feel the one-on-one and I don't feel like a big crowd around me, to just really tune into this, intimate conversation here, and not thinking of the outcome. It's more about the value of, yeah, sharing and inspiring others. And so thank you for inspiring me and the others.
Mm,
And looking forward to find the right intention and clarity for this podcast. Yeah, and maybe you're
amazing.
going to be my guest.
Yeah, I'm always very happy to be a guest on people's podcast. Actually, it's really beautiful to be a host. There's a lot to gain. It's like you're hosting the party and you're choosing who you have on your podcast. And often you can actually go to people who have many more followers, higher status, or this kind of thing. So there's a lot of benefits. But being a podcast guest is really good too, as just to get people to know you and be known in your authority for something. So yeah, definitely encouraging these two for others, and I love to do it myself for sure.
Amazing. Looking forward.
Yeah, do you want to share what is your main takeaway from our conversation today?
Ah, yeah, how important these times are, using the technology, using the social medias, not only for selling, but again, like, yeah, there's this part that somehow you said, like, this masculine part needs to have like that clarity and needs to go forward. And it still, for me, feels talking with you how important it is to share our knowledge and how easy it is to reach the people, in your way. I don't need to prove, I don't need to do anything. You are you, and I love what you do. And I followed you, and I thought, oh my God, like maybe Alex is really the one that kind of like gives me that last spark on, like, really get that fear that's still there. And I feel today, I feel that was very helpful. And yeah, thanking you and the sharing.
Mm. Thank you so much, Nina, and thank you for sharing courageously, being
Yeah.
here, talking about your truth and your message. And thank you for
Mm,
everyone. If you're still watching this, I appreciate you for being here. You can like, subscribe, and share if you want to support the channel, of course. And if you're considering starting your podcast, come on the show to talk about it. Or if you're still a little bit shy, we can have a discussion in private too. Check the link in the description. And much love, Nina. Much love to everyone.